Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tisa Seleka for those who don't know me, and if you're new to the channel, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button and don't forget to comment and like the video if you've enjoyed it. So as promised last week, we've started a new series called the 21st Century Wife. And we started on the topic submission. I wanted to continue, and this will be my last video on submission on my own. I will be bringing more people to be sharing their experiences as new wives and how submission, how they were taught about submission and the realities of it in their marriages. So it's gonna be amazing. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. I cannot wait to learn from all these beautiful wives that we will be having. And yeah, so today I wanted to cover one aspect that I've also learned in my journey that influences the type of wife that I became, because a lot of who I am now, the wife, the mother, and the friend that I am now, it's influenced by my upbringing, how I saw things done at home, around me, and with people that are close to me, and this video is really about how your brokenness or your background shapes the type of wife that you become. I didn't have a bloomy or rosy upbringing, and if you've watched my previous videos about growing up in a broken home or broken family, you will know the details thereof, right? And I feel like that plays a huge role in the way children, are brought up. I am a strong believer that if a marriage is strong and is based on the word and is good, the children are therefore, they are most likely to follow suit. And if your children are following that good example, their children will do the same. And in return, we have a very sane society, a very safe society, a very secured society, right? So with that said, I was at my mom's house, and I was just reminded about a whole lot of things that happened when we were still together, or when I still stayed here full time. And I was reminded about so many things that I said, and so many decisions that I made consciously and unconsciously because of what I was seeing and what I was exposed to, without going into much detail on how I grew up and all of that, because there's already a video that I did on that. I was one person who would make conscious and unconscious decisions on the type of woman I would be. I'd make decisions like, I'm not gonna let a man talk down to me. I'll never let a man make me feel less than. I'll never allow a man to take advantage of me in any way, financially, physically, or emotionally, so I made these decisions, and they sound good when you're listening to me now, but then the way I went about it was wrong, because the decisions were made out of a bleeding place. The decisions were made out of a hurtful place. So instead of me turning into the person that God is trying to build me into from these hurts or from these experiences, I then become a person who's guarded, who's building walls so that I don't get to experience what I've experienced. And one thing that I want to point out is that in as much as you as the one spouse, or the wife in this case, is going through so much, your partner also grew up in a certain way, and that's another ball game. When you get into a relationship with someone, you get to know the person. You don't really get to touch on the surface of how this person was brought up, and what decisions did he make consciously or unconsciously to become who they are right now. So I get into the marriage setting, and by the time I was married, the Holy Spirit was already revealing my brokenness to me, and I thought that was enough. I thought that was healing, and that's only part of the healing. It's not the entire healing process. Yes, I knew the root of the problem, but now it was time for me to uproot it, right? And the uprooting part is the one that affected the woman, the kind of wife that I became. Right, let's park my end of the story. So now I go into a marriage with someone who has their own experiences as a husband, right? And a person who and there are already pressures that are coming from the outside for a man, and him growing up the way that he grew up and experiencing whatever he was experiencing, he on his side had already made conscious and unconscious decisions on the type of man they want to become and the type of woman they want to marry. So you come with your unspoken expectations. I say unspoken because these expectations were developed through or from a wound, and not a lot of us have the courage to expose our wounds. In as much as we're like, yeah, you need to be transparent with your husband and you need to be all of that, it takes time. You don't just immediately feel comfortable to do it, especially if the wound caused you a lot of hurt, a great hurt that you really don't want to revisit. And a big part of healing, a big part of you getting over something or coming to complete healing is you experiencing those, or rather reliving those scenes again, for you to actually undo some thoughts that you had concerning the same thing that hurt you, right? And I think I didn't have the knowledge of that, and I think it was only after post-marital counseling that we went to that I realized that I have so many unresolved issues that are hindering me from being the wife that I am called to be, and not to satisfy him. Yes, to satisfy him, but not solely to satisfy him, but also to satisfy the role that I have to serve God as a wife. So then I had to learn to unlearn, the way I responded to things. And, it's very hard. It's very difficult because, like I said, I was guarded. I was, nobody ever wants to hurt again, and although some pains or some experiences are inevitable because of where God is taking you, but I made a choice that I will not experience those things again. I don't want. So any trigger had the same response from me. So I had to now change the way I responded to things. And it's the most difficult thing a person could do, because firstly you feel I have the right to respond this way because I'm hurt, and then, but we don't see that in return we are making this hurt, making this brokenness some kind of an idol when we keep responding to it the same way. For example, God is like our everything. We respond to God in a certain way. And I'll make an example of you being in a worship session. We respond to the Holy Spirit in the same way. When we get to a certain level, we respond to His move in a certain way, and that is our God, right? And the same thing with the feeling, the same thing with hurt, same thing with an offense. Somebody offends you, and each time you get offended, you have the same response. So now you're turning this thing into your God, because you have now cultivated a culture of how to respond to this thing. So now I had to unlearn like years of responding the same way to certain things, and that takes a lot. It takes a toll on me. It takes its toll on the husband as well. And this is just me speaking on my own. And because of the pressures that are happening out there, you don't want to come out as a disrespectful wife, unsubmissive wife. So the best way for you to deal with this, to deal with it, is to keep quiet. But the one thing that I did is I found someone that I could be accountable to, somebody that I could talk to, and that, which is like my my pastor, right? And like, she's an incredible woman. I mean, we will hear about her story soon in our conferences, but you listen to how she grew from where she was to where she is right now, and you just wonder, like, God, can I get there already? But then the one thing that I want to say to you as a wife, a new wife, is that don't be too hard on yourself on not being able to fulfill your role as expected by other people outside of your marriage. But the best thing that you can do for yourself is to work on your relationship with God. And I keep mentioning this because there's no way that you can have a good solid relationship with the Holy Spirit and you still offend or get offended. There's no way that the Holy Spirit can be your anchor, your everything, and you still get as mad as you get when something hurts you, because he's a comforter, but also he teaches you things that you already know, because your spirit already knows how to be this wife, because you're already created to be one. Your spirit already knows that, and the Holy Spirit comes and it teaches you, it reminds you, it brings it to remembrance, and all of that. So yeah, just to answer the question, because this video is still part of submission in the 21st century, is that we've seen so many examples of submission. We've each time I hear submission, the first thing that comes to my mind is a Zulu wife, because a Zulu wife is always, and these are the Zulus in the rurals, the rest of y'all but anyway, they're the people who are modeled as respectful. Even vendors, they're respectful, they're this, they're that. But honestly, you don't, if that's not who you're called to be, don't try to be that. Be who the Holy Spirit is teaching you to be. And there's no difference between submission then and submission now. The difference is that now you listen more to the Holy Spirit, and that is who you get your ability to do it. I mean, your ability to submit from. You don't get it from anything else but that. Like I said, from next week onwards, we will have young wives conversations. This is open to everybody, just by the way, single, engaged, and not wanting to get married. All of y'all are invited to join us as we have these conversations with young wives and hear how their experience of submission is, the realities of being married young, and how they are incorporating this millennialism in their relationships, because it's really different. The times that we are living in now are different, but we still serve the same God who still hasn't changed his word concerning submission and all of that. My name is Tisetso Seligwe, and you are more than welcome to click that subscribe button. Please guys, click it. See you next time. Do share this with your friends, and don't forget, we have a whole series after this.